Spiral, 2 Jews, 2 mics, 2 hours, starting now.
Wow, I can't believe you're still alive.
I know. I had a police chase. A police chase and in my neighbor across the street's yard last night.
You have to set this whole thing up from beginning to end. Did you hear the sounds?
What I heard was crash. And it kind of sounded like a car got sideswiped almost, but I heard like a crash and felt a slight sort of, jostle of the earth.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The kind of just that thing that comes with a loud bang.
Yeah.
So I hear a loud bang, my power goes out, and I look out the window and there's like 8 cop cars right there, like immediately, So I immediately flush all my weed just out of reflex. No.
I guess I love the idea that you'd have that the weed would be so bad back in those days that you would flush you could see tons of horrible Colombian weed going down the drain. Did you get scared at all?
I had to scrape off the tax stamps first, which was probably should have been a clue. Did I what? I'm sorry.
You didn't think about that at all, right? That's not what.
No, really. Honestly, it all became pretty clear what had happened pretty quickly because the cops were there immediately, so it was pretty clear that this guy was being chased.
And you didn't go outside, right?
I did it after a few minutes.
Oh, okay.
When it was clear, So the guy apparently, and I saw this on a helicopter shot later. The guy apparently he came down my street, took the turn way too wide, and went right into I think clipped a pole.
Oh, making a right onto your street.
Never mind with that, but.
Did Mrs. Harrelson's statue of Jesus with a goat hanging off of her arm, was that affected?
That was not affected. It was a miracle. It was a miracle is what it was. Missed it by that much. No, it doesn't, in the delight of day, which there was none of last night because the power was out to the block. It doesn't look like it looks like he stopped just short of the house. Like didn't actually damage the house, but got up.
Wow.
But then he bolted. And I did go out in my yard at that point I was like, we had chopper overhead. It had, you could tell it was like looking for someone. So I did go out in my yard with the dogs and just make sure there wasn't a fugitive hiding in my yard.
Why would you go out?
Well, I let the dogs go first.
Oh, well, that's enough. Let the people sense the danger.
Yes.
Would they be scared? An intruder would be scared. They don't know if your dogs would bite, right?
Who knows? But I didn't really think that was what was going on.
Right.
Because, there was all those cops there. They would have seen where he went, basically.
Yeah,
and they did. He went the other way and got tackled by a cop. So.
Oh, God. But no, wow.
So the power was out for about 2 or 3 hours.
Oh, it was all... I would have thought in my mind, I would have thought the power would be out for weeks.
That was my initial feeling.
You're like, why are they going to run over here?
But I thought, we're going to lose some stuff in the fridge is kind of what I thought. But it came back on and that was good. But quite a disruption to the evening overall.
And of course,
and the dogs were the dogs overall not happy with the situation.
Were they like testy all night or just in general?
No, they were just freaked out because, we were wandering around in the dark looking out windows and they were like, what's happening? Am I on duty? What?
That's so disappointing to hear about the dogs. You train them your whole lives.
Yes.
You expect them to act in a reasonable manner. Was there any thunder involved? Could that... That is unbelievable. Now, you were asleep, right? No.
I was not. Allison was, but I was not.
Did Allison get scared?
No, she got very curious. We both got very curious. It was, it wasn't that scary, really.
What if the person was let out by now and you saw them wandering around because they just were let out for the?
I wouldn't be really concerned. What I did see is at the end of the night, the poor because it was this is all my deduction that apparently is correct as of today, but. I mean, I kind of figured stolen car, and then later that, like, the last thing I saw before I went to bed was the cop, like, going through the car with clearly the owner who was looking it over.
Who would come and met them at the scene,
yes.
Right? Oh, man. Man, how do you steal? Oh, I guess you just get in a car, someone's car. Maybe they're driving the car when you get in, right?
Maybe.
That's why, and I want to tell you one thing right now, Josh, that you probably don't realize. I'm not very much of a sleuth.
Yeah.
You used to think I was a big sleuth. And I could tell what happened and where it came.
Yeah. Was that just because I used to go Sherlock a lot when you said
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. No, because you used to make sarcastic remarks that indicated the opposite. Oh, that's really bright, Mr. Holmes. Oh, too bad. You should get a job with. I know you did the joke already.
Yeah, all right.
Doesn't matter that you did it already.
Clear.
Doesn't matter. No, does not matter.
All right.
Because everything I learned from AM radio.
Let me muck it up.
I'm trying to think of what it's like. I feel like it happened to you, and you're not far from me. But I feel like it's another world.
Part of the reason I texted you is just to get kind of your juice in the game.
I know. Here's what happened. This is exactly what happened.
And also, my phone was the only thing working at the time.
This is why I'm not. I don't feel as if you can count on me to any degree.
Well, I wasn't asking for any help in any way.
No, but we heard the sound. What's the sound? Who's calling? I react to it like a Jew.
Yeah.
It was in the other part of the room. They keep beeping. What could it be? I don't know. Why don't you go over and look at it? And then I went over and looked at it, and I was like, whoa. I had my pants on. I slid down the barber pole.
Yeah.
Because you know I'm
barber pole, which is weird. I went round and round.
You know, in my mind, I thought the barber pole had the same stripes.
I slid down the barber pole.
I mean, not the barber pole, the fireman's pole.
Yeah.
You know, I once had trouble with a fireman's pole.
Really? They found 2-1. You were not safe. I don't know.
No, it's a dick joke.
Oh, I was going with for P. I was going POLL.
2-1. Oh my God! This is so. I'm so glad you're alive, though.
Thank you. Another brush with death early in the year.
I know the thing is about early in the year. It couldn't get any earlier. Is that a good omen? Does that mean more?
I think it's like a GARP thing. We've been pre-disastered.
I don't know if I ever told you this because it's not that interesting, but
then probably.
You got me with that one. I'm not funny is the joke there. Out in front of my house in Queens, I would say 5 times there was an accident right in front of our house.
Yeah.
That street that my parents lived on was not the busiest street in the world, but it came off of one parkway in between another expressway. And not only did that happen, but at the corner, a couple of blocks away from me, 3 or 4 times they barreled through that person's, because they were on the corner, they barreled through that person's almost into the house, to the point where they had to put like a metal guard around the thing.
Really?
So that people couldn't get. It's like, so I mean, I don't know why. I remember 3 incidences of like people coming in with like staggering into the house. No one died, but they were right in front of the house.
Wow.
I don't have any other story for that.
That's some bad planning going on there.
Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have put my house on a.
We could barely keep the ice patch frozen between.
Oh boy! But can you think of what a different day it would be if I had to start today looking for a new partner, going over and making sure Allison.
I really think you are overselling this as a near-death experience.
I think Allison. I go over and comfort Allison. I
was more relieved for my new fence than I really was for our lives.
Oh, that's right. You don't want anything to happen to that. Because I would be on the phone to Stinkburger today to see what my options are.
Yeah.
If something happened to you, I'm not hoping that something happens to you. I'm not playing with the idea of it. I'm just saying I'm starting to fantasize about who would my co-host be.
Yeah.
And I realized, you fucking idiot. You're not doing anything on your own. Is actually what I said to myself. When was the last time that you did something on your own? How about my
That was good
career?
fantasy management.
But you know what? On a day like this, Josh, it's like almost you have a second lease on life.
It's more of a second mortgage on life.
I saw a show last night. I didn't see it, but I saw a bit of it on New Year's Eve. It's like Groucho. He's Groucho.
Yeah.
And he's not Groucho.
Who?
He's a younger man.
Is it Frank Ferrante? Is it?
I think it must be. And he gets on the piano. He's up on the piano and he's doing that kind of thing.
Wow. And
people are reacting to him like he's Groucho.
Well, at this point, it's like Bozo the Clown kind of.
I would not. No offense to Frank Ferrante.
Did you see the Groucho and Dick Cavett doc on PBS? The American Masters?
No. Why don't you tell me? Would it kill you to say, Andy, turn on your thing?
It would.
And then go for your recorder.
It would kill me.
It wouldn't be right. Because there'd be too many things like that.
How
was it?
I would be as close to death as a guy crashing across the street. It was okay. I mean, I'd seen most of the stuff on YouTube, but it was it's fun to see old Dick Cavett talking about old Groucho Marx.
Were they friends, obviously, or something like that?
They were famously friends. Yes.
Oh, and so Dick had a saying.
Sorry, it's not a good knife if you can't twist it a little.
Do you know who Drew, or that great artist is? Drew Friedman? Yes. So Drew Friedman always tells this
never
story.
Heard of him.
Okay, well then imagine him, but with the person you were thinking about.
Okay.
He did he would go and do book signings and stuff. So I saw a book signing of his, and I guess he tells the story. Told the story.
Didn't you see my kid at one of them?
I think I did.
I think you did.
I have no memories of the past. Yeah. Yes. I forget where that was. Oh, I think it was at. It was the one that's on Book Soup, maybe.
Yeah, sounds right.
Okay, so he tells the story about when he was kids. His father was Bruce J. Friedman.
Yeah.
And his father was also a writer. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, vaguely.
Okay, so but he was friends with Groucho, and so Groucho came over the house one day, and the kids were like, "Oh my God, it's Groucho!" And they were going crazy. So he hung out with Groucho, and then Groucho the next week comes back, and they can't even believe it. Anyway, the story is by the fourth week. He's like, can you tell Groucho?
We don't like it's the Mel Brooks Cary Grant story.
They're because they're kids, so they literally could get that bored that quickly. Right?
Yeah. Well, one of the things that they covered in the doc was George Burns talking about. George Burns has a famous story too of basically it's the point was that Groucho would do the same joke if the same setup came every time. So whenever they'd have lunch, he would order some sort of sea bass or something, and it reminded him of a song. If you don't see bass,
Oh my!
And he did it every time. And George Burns is like, I didn't want to hear the song, so I went over to the waiter. And I said, I'll have the sea bass. And the waiter goes, I see that he's a sea bass. And he did the same.
What happened? Huh? You looked like you were turning to the side, like you had a problem there for a second.
No.
Is that what you do after every bit?
Relax.
Is that what you fucking do after every bit?
Relax. I was doing George Burns. I took a little hit of my cigar while the laugh rang out.
I know I've told this story before, but it bears repeating. Do you know the comic Bill Fox?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I hadn't remembered the name for
a long time.
Long time.
His wife was Karen, and Bill had I forgot, he was in not the porn business, but something like strip bars or something like that.
Really?
I think so. That he made his money, but he told me the story, which still delights me to this day, that he was at the commissary or something with Jerry Lewis. He was meeting Jerry Lewis, and he mentioned my name to Jerry Lewis. And he goes, yeah, my friend Andy Kindler. And so Jerry Lewis, as a bit, starts to go, you know Andy Kindler? Wow! Are you kidding me? Are you seriously telling me today that you are personal friend with Andy Kindler? And I think he made a meal out of it.
Doesn't sound like him, but yeah.
Well, the other one that's a classic is, which I hope is true, is that someone in first class, and I forgot to tell me the story, they meet Jerry, and then they sit back down. They're an actor, and they're sitting there for a long time, and they kind of look. They see that Jerry's looking out of their corner of their vision.
Yeah.
They wait in the 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So the guy finally looks, and then Jerry goes, "Ah!" He's waiting to do the bit.
Waiting.
Ah! Now, I hope that's true.
I hope so.
If it's not, I don't know why I did that, Josh. I thought that I thought that was my best moment so far.
Right.
So I was going to be a boy. I tell you.
Sometimes you'll jump out of the plane before checking the chute.
Okay, real, and then turn fake at the end.
Well, I'll take 2 reals and a fake any day.
I saw the Dionne Warwick thing, and I loved it very much. And I don't just say it because Dionne Warwick
I actually
follows me.
I saw it until the power went out.
It was my reminders good because I'm trying to get in with Dionne Warwick. I feel like I could be like her Jewish friend. I mean, she has Jewish friends.
Probably.
But don't you think
after 70 years in show business, probably.
You think she's met some Jews? And look, here's what Dave Chappelle says. He looks, I'm not saying negative. It's negative that every other person in LA is a Jew.
Right.
That's not my point.
I'm just saying it's a fact. They're everywhere. Get them off me.
Yeah. Oh, no, it's perfectly normal that you walk into a building and the people involved in the show are Greenbaum, Bernstein. They all have big noses and they all are cheap.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's just a coincidence. They're all cheap. How come this sounds worse than his bit?
It's not quite as nuanced, really.
You know what I think of Dave? You know what word I don't think of with combined with Dave Chappelle over the last few years is nuanced.
Huh.
I know these are one of those topics I'll bring up that you probably have no interest in. Who are we talking about? I use my one thing.
You win. I'd have no interest in this.
Give me the person we're talking about.
I think it was Dave Chappelle.
Yes. I'm wondering now if I liked him more than I thought he was even funnier than he was because I hadn't seen much of his act except stuff I loved when he started and the classic bits from the Chappelle show.
Yeah.
So my question to myself is, was I overvaluing how great he was? I thought he was one of the best comics I'd seen. I thought he was just hilarious. And I thought the things on the Chappelle show I saw were hilarious.
And I'm more of the, okay, give him great comic. That's not the issue here. You know.
Are you telling me that if Hitler was hilarious, you would not give it up for him? That seems to be what you're saying. Separate the art from the artist.
No, I'm not saying separate the art from the artist. I'm saying separate the argument from the art.
Oh my God, Josh, you are like who's the guy in Star Wars?
It's a Cosby argument too. You know, I have no. I mean, I know you aren't as enthralled with Cosby as many people were, but I believe he was a great comic at just skill level wise.
Who just bought 3 nights
while being a monster.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
Who bought 3 nights of what?
I just bought 3 nights of him in August at the in Cerritos at the Cerritos. It's not the Cerritos Auto Square. What's it called out there?
The Performance Arts Center.
Yes. Would it be a good prank if you and I infiltrated one of those things? No, it would be horribly uncomfortable.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he actually booking shows, or was it?
I don't think he will. I think
it was
it's one
just
of those
a news item of
put the feelers out, right?
Yes, considering touring is what I've seen.
The most comfortable interview I've seen was when Bill Cosby went on.
By the way,
NPR.
I've seen good shows at that Cerritos venue.
Oh, name me a couple.
Randy Newman a couple times. Bella Fleck and the Flecktones.
Why are you making things up? The first name was real. I've heard of the first name. Then you start. Why can't you laugh at me like a pretty laugh?
Because then it becomes a whole thing.
What if you did?
It's never enough. It's never enough.
I just was thinking about Ed McMahon and the fact that Ed McMahon often, they make fun of Ed McMahon, but he was pretty hilarious in general.
Yeah,
that he was like
guy.
with it all the time.
Yes.
And having fun with the format.
Yes. And he was willing to take a buffoon punch.
I was telling Susan the one about the San Diego Zoo, recalling that one where it's going. Doc doesn't go down there. You don't go down there. And they go, okay, everything's okay. So Johnny goes, and so Ed goes, don't say, and then stops. He's like really drunk. Goes, don't say, like he's going to start. I don't do a good drunk person, but it is. You've seen that, right?
No, I don't. I lost you in the mix.
Okay, this is the classic Ed McMahon who's so drunk. He's as drunk as he's ever been before a show.
Right.
And the lady from the San Diego Zoo is coming.
Joan
by.
Embry.
Right. So he goes, Joan Embry's coming by. I've been to that zoo, San Diego Zoo. Joan Embry. I've been there. Doc hasn't been there. And he's just like starts to go so drunk, and he's spraying mints in his mouth.
I don't think I've ever seen that clip.
Oh, it's really good. And now I will now describe other things you can't see.
Oh, do. Do, Commander.
Is that James Mason?
No, it was the sidekick to Commander McBragg.
Well, I just wanted to say that Dionne Warwick is, and I'm not saying I came up with this, but God damn it, her voice was like, I told Susan, it's like both strong and soothing at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So she's not working hard like Patti LaBelle would work. I'm not comparing black people to white people, but it's just like, I don't think there's and I know that this isn't that important. Do not think there could be any other combination that would have made all those songs be so great.
You know what it is?
I know them.
You know what it is, Andy? It's her musicality.
Did you?
But it was an interesting thing that that she set herself apart through her musical training. That she, one of the things that allowed her to work with David and Bacharach was her ability to sight read and get through those.
Right. You called him David Bacharach.
Huh?
You called him David Bacharach.
I said David and Bacharach.
I'm not. I'm the world's stupidest person.
What?
I'm the world's stupid. I'm pretending that you said his first name was David.
Ah, okay. Well, I hope you understand that wasn't what I was saying.
Someone mentioned
But
Gina,
thanks for stopping my point in its fucking tracks.
Okay, go
I
ahead. Do
appreciate
your point. No. Look, have I ever? Why don't you remember? Is there ever a time that you remember where I was so generous with my listening?
Never.
Yeah. Okay. So I was wrong about that. But the thing is, I think Susan or someone pointed out that they didn't talk much about Hal David, but I don't think the thing wasn't about Hal
I don't know.
David.
The power went out after their first song together for me.
Are they still? Bacharach's still alive, but I don't know if Hal David's still alive.
I don't know. I do not know.
Yeah.
I watched that Phil Spector series of Doc.
Me too.
Yeah, I know. That's why. That's why I bring it up. We talked about it. Yes.
Okay, so what's your take on it?
Now I'm up to speed.
What's your take on it?
I thought it was a bad doc. First of all,
you have to stop watching these things because you're not going to enjoy anything.
Well, they couldn't decide what they were making a doc about exactly.
I thought I got a lot of great info there, a lot of good information.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. You're saying it's a hodgepodge of information about Lana Clarkson and.
Well, yeah, it didn't. It wasn't. It was sort of half a loaf in terms of how it actually covered his career, and then it couldn't decide if it wanted to be a story of him or a sort of victim tribute to Lana Clarkson, and yet.
I think they wanted to do both.
Yeah, they did, but they split the difference in a way that didn't really serve the story either that well. I didn't think.
Have you seen the one about...
in their effort to sort of maximize Lana Clarkson, they continued to sort of minimize her with by just showing short clips of her work and just
I think you're right. I think you're ultimately right. Although I think showing her as a stand-up humanized. I mean, that part, all that stuff was like kind of made her. You saw a little bit more of a person.
No, I think it gave her some more dimension than one might have from the news of the time.
Right.
But whatever. Well, the real thing is it was a 4-episode doc that should have just been
that's the thing.
Short fucking doc.
I was watching it with Susan and her sister Gina, and when the first part ended, they didn't even understand what I was talking about. I mean, Susan would, but Gina had never seen that happen before. Either that's the end of it.
Yeah.
No, you're going into another 45-minute segment now.
Right.
So it's 4. I think it's 4 of them, right?
It was 4 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't need to have 4.
Did not need 4. The other thing was just there weren't enough interviewees. It didn't give a really, You know, it was very much a hodgepodge of interviewees, you know, with lots of gaps. But the one, his daughter, Spector's daughter, was a very sane and balanced voice, but she was also like a producer of the thing. Yeah,
but I thought that it was good that she didn't make herself. I think she genuinely introduced parts of him that he was like a nice dad and things like that.
Thank God.
Yeah, because the other thing isn't as good. The Unbound. The thing about him is like, it's so hard when someone, obviously we weren't young enough to go through it. Maybe I was, but we didn't appreciate, even I, as old as I am, second generation heard about Phil Spector. Wasn't pop into the doo-wop things.
Well, yeah, and the other part of it is that he stopped working in 1980, essentially. You know,
yeah,
it's like his body of work didn't continue past the 70s. Really, he just went straight into recluse mode for 30 years.
And there were rumors about him with guns, and I mean, I'd heard those rumors before, right?
I'd certainly heard he had pulled one out on John Lennon, and you know. I hadn't heard, you know, I had only heard those sort of celebrity studio crazy waving a gun stories. I hadn't heard tales of him with women, but.
I have one. A story, not with him with women, but you know, Rick, the great drummer, Rick Marotta.
Yeah. Rich Marotta, isn't it?
Rich. It's not Rich Marotta. Rick, maybe there is someone named Rich Marotta. Why are you bothering me? I don't even want to tell the story now. God damn you. I'm going to fake hang up the phone.
Okay.
So before he killed Lana Clarkson, if you believe that he did, because I really feel like his story sounds right. She's sitting there pensively, alone in the living room. He walks down the stairs, and she decides at that moment to shoot herself in the mouth.
All right. After rifling through just a random drawer in the foyer, finds a gun, goes, well, perfect opportunity.
That's right. That's right. And so if you do buy, but the point that I was going to make was that, oh God, I forgot.
Rick Marotta.
Oh, Rick Marotta.
That's two.
Went to his. What's that?
That's two. You're one in the hole today now with my reminders.
I know. I feel bad about that because like he won't be there for me in the future. He went to a party before he killed. He went to a party over Phil Spector's house, and he was telling us
up at the castle.
At the castle, he was. I think he told this story in retrospect after it happened, because he probably wouldn't have brought this up. But he was like,
he probably wouldn't have told it before it happened either. So probably
that he went over to some party because he's a musician. So he went over to some party at his house, and it's like this. The castle is like kind of disgusting. It's not up to snuff. And there was a tray of like food that he literally saw maggots on.
Wow.
So
yeah, my suspicion was that it was kind of like the latter days of the Playboy Mansion, where it's just like the last decoration didn't happen since a long time ago, you know? Yeah,
you know, I'm listening. I'm not recommending it, but I'm listening to a Bonnie Lee Bakley, like a
podcast.
Podcast, yeah. So they talk about how Robert Blake would always he loved to go to the mansion. Robert Blake.
Yeah. Well, he's like just right in that sweet spot generation of it. You know, if you were a celebrity in 1974, that place became very special to you, I'm sure.
All I think of is, when I think of that, I think of Bill Maher, hideous Bill Maher, sitting there, ogling women, and but not now. It's 1993.
Right. Yes, it's a notch sadder.
It's a notch sadder, and I would not go into the germ pool. Would you have gone into the germ pool?
Stay away from the grotto, Andy. Stay away.
Is that Marlon Brando?
That's Chris Elliott's Marlon Brando.
Stay away from the island, David. Stay away. Just stay away from the island.
That's a great impression. How about when he always called Paul Ringo.
Good job, Ringo.
And he always wanted to do the song Bananas. One song.
Is it Yes, We Have No Bananas?
No, it was like he never got through it.
Right,
forget about it. I must say that Chris Elliott is the funniest man I've ever seen, in terms of I've never laughed harder at anybody who would come in on someone's show and be a character like that.
Yeah, no,
Okay,
I think his guest character spots on the NBC show are great TV moments for sure.
I know. And that's it. We can't be. I'm not going to do it.
Well, I don't. Yeah,
I hate
just,
you.
Just take a. You hate me. Wow.
No, I hate myself. Wow. I hate you for reminding me of how disgusting I am.
Yeah. Well,
if I see you, I know I'm fucked up. That's why I stay away from you.
Wow.
That's what sick people do.
Well, I'm glad we're not. I'm glad we're not in person anymore.
I can't believe I'm so excited about our podcast this year. We have so many. Yes. Well, first of all, with the we're moving to Spotify, which I still think was a dicey move. I have a friend who has a great podcast. It's called Heavyweight, but I don't think he's happy about. I think it's like people who were signed with Spotify before all this stuff happened are not happy. It's like they get lost in the Joe Rogan sauce. Right. It's not like people are finding them on Spotify because it's got a reputation.
Yeah, there's certain podcasts that just aren't going to trickle down from Joe Rogan. Thank God.
And so I feel like we backed the right horse doing nothing.
Nothing was always my choice. It's always number one.
I'm telling you, though, we could have double the listeners.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything. Would quadruple the listeners be good?
That would be better, I think, probably.
Okay. If we were on other people's podcasts that we liked. We definitely would get listeners.
Well, we did that for a while back in the day.
We did?
Remember?
No. I mean like
we went
commercials.
On Marin, we went on.
No, commercials.
Yeah, they
come on during the podcast.
Feel free to fund that out of pocket, but
okay. Can I try it with you and see how it works? At least?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so you're listening to The Business or whatever that you're listening to, and hi, I'm Andy Kindler,
and I'm J. Elvis Weinstein.
And I'm here
each week. Right. Join us for fun.
Whether it's talking about nothing
or feeling nothing,
you get it all. And talk about special. How about special guests?
Never.
So tune in wherever you get your podcast.
And then at the end we go. So tune in to Thought Spiral. Come on, get on the ball. It. Come on, take two.
Come on, no. That's the other thing, too, is that when you on podcasts, the idea that the host is going to do the ads, it almost never works.
We're click and clack without the cars.
Why do we have kind of a memory of click and clack is slightly derisive? And it shouldn't be, because I used to listen to them all the time in the 80s because I had a horrible car.
Yeah.
And so you would listen thinking they might talk about your horrible car. And then give you an idea.
And the fact that your tape deck is broken.
No, you see, you had a different life than me. You were a national touring headliner at 14.
Right.
I made no money at all forever until I got on the road in 1987, except for day jobs. So I built up all of my, I was in deep trouble, all from the car, all from my Ford. No, it's all from the Ford Country Squire wagon. Until I got the Honda. Until I got the Honda.
That was an idiot car to move to Los Angeles with, the Ford Country Squire wagon.
And not only that, I bought into the whole thing.
Did you be it because of the gear? So because you could carry all your gear to all the gigs? No,
it was no good reason for it. And the woman was like, "Did this though? God, do we hate to give it up? Really? Do we hate to give it? This is our baby. That's what was sold to me.
This was our second home. This car.
It had a rear window that was electric.
Didn't work.
That did not work.
Got a raccoon. Heard the story. It's like a raccoon door, that rear window.
But you did not spend the entire time of your formative years worried that your car was going to break down.
I did some, yeah. When I was on the road in my 74 Celica, that could only start when you open the hood and touch the solenoid to the starter. I had some worries. Especially it was like 104 degrees in the Dakotas and no air conditioning. And
we decide you're 15 years younger than me. I always forget.
Yeah,
20 years?
Huh? 15.
20 years?
15.
15.
I look
Is it 15 for real?
I look 20. It's 15 for real.
It's really for real.
Yeah.
That's just terrible to me.
1971 to year 56.
So you didn't have the same experience of when you were driving. Oh, you sure did. That the American cars sucked and all that stuff. They were still
I
sucking
never owned.
by then.
I still have never owned an American car.
My parents used to get a Chevy every 3 years. Chevy, what was it? Caprice.
Yeah.
Because they were wild. They didn't care. They were out of the control with the Caprice.
My parents had mostly used cars until probably 1980-ish.
But my dad's cars were connected to the business too. So he would deduct it.
That was one of the things. When my dad moved to a new law firm, a company car came along with that.
Yeah.
That's when the new, I think that's when the new cars started, in fact.
Would you say the American cars have never recovered from being as
no, I think they certainly recovered from their nadir.
Right, but are they just known for their Chevy
they became better?
trucks?
They became better cars after like the Chrysler K car era and stuff, which was really
My parents had a Focus, and it wasn't very good.
No, there's some terrible American cars made between 1970 and now, but there's also, I think, some good ones.
No, they had
or
a
at least
Focus
comparable quality.
Right. I know a lot about cars that you don't know that I know about.
Good.
Like certain kind of. I'm not so good with the fuel
I
injection.
sense you're hiding a lot of knowledge.
For example, I know a lot about carburetors.
Tell me more.
From smoking a bong.
Aha.
No, that was my friend and I, who both went to a 4-year college.
Okay, I dropped out to do a puppet show. Okay.
My friend and I, Andy Rogo, we both had gone to a 4-year college. We knew so little about cars between us. We were up into Tuolumne Meadows, and the car was barely going. He goes, I know what it is. There's not enough air up here. The air is too thin. And we high-fived each other.
You have to adjust your fuel mixture.
Yeah, I said, you're a fucking genius. And he was like, I'm pretty good.
It's totally not true. You can't get that. You can't get engine affecting altitude in Western New York.
But let the story be as it was. So we're both like, you're a genius. You goddamn right. But the only thing that would have been genius is if either one of us could have done something about it. That's genius.
Sure. Also, I don't think you were right. That's really my point.
Well, do you know what a fuel, like some cars, they still have it maybe. It's like a fuel filter that goes, it's a special filter, an extra filter that's in the engine. And so I had a friend who worked at a car place.
Okay.
Okay. And this is like 1980, whatever. He was a casual friend. So I bring my thing in. I couldn't understand why my car wasn't working. And we couldn't figure it out. And he goes, oh, it's just this fuel filter. The boss comes around. We will have to take a look at this. The boss is overriding my friend so that he could do a big thing. He could rip me off.
Yeah.
And if my friend hadn't gone around the boss and just told me to go get a fuel filter, I would have been there. Even at my casual friend's place, It would have been thousands of dollars.
Well, you used to tour as Easy Mark, didn't you?
Well, I used to. One of my first bits was about how they would show you, they would, by law, they have to give you the part when they would replace it.
Right.
And they go, so here's the, as if I'm going to go, okay, I see. You're not fucking with me.
Yeah.
They could have given me an apple, show me a shoe, a mess of wire. I wouldn't have known.
I showed it to him. Throw it back in the Monopoly board box.
Do you know how much money I think that I spent on that one car the TAC 8-track studio? Yeah, buying musical equipment instead of practicing.
That makes you, because it makes you better. Good gear makes you better, right?
Yeah, I had a PV. I had a PV a Shure. What's it called? A Shure Vocal Master? PV Shure or something? Not a Shure. PV Vocal Master. So I could get in bands. I got in a band once because I had a
PV Vocal Master would be a PA system.
I got into a band because I had a PA, and I was
You weren't the first. You are not the first person to get into a band because of gear.
Okay, I just remember when we used to store it. And yeah, why do I feel so bad? Why can't I just look at? I don't feel bad. I'm wrong. I'm lying about it.
Okay.
I feel embarrassed when I look back and think about the horrible music I played, the bad names. Why would you be in a band called The Visitors? There's no excuse for that.
Because you're never at home with the Visitors.
And not knowing that there was a traffic after coming up with merging traffic. Remembering we came up with merging traffic, and we were like, "Holy fuck, we should get an award or something." And then a week later, they go, there was a band named Traffic. Yeah, I did know that. At one point, I knew that.
Let's change it to Low Spark.
We changed it to John Barleycorn Must Die.
Really?
Bum. Oh, I wanted to ask you this because if I'm not, did you get into bands that I don't know much about, like Pink Floyd, for example?
I never did, no.
So we both are like, listen to that great lead on that one song. We appreciate the songs that we hear, but we didn't get deep into it, right?
Yeah.
Or you didn't even appreciate the songs you heard.
No, I'm kind of I have my handful of Pink Floyd songs that I really like.
Right.
And they're probably very similar to the handful of Pink Floyd songs that other people like.
Yes.
But I found I was never one of those get stoned and listen to Dark Side of the Moon people. I don't have that kind of attention span. I don't have that kind of immersion.
Or drugs. You don't have that. You weren't into drugs like that.
No, I was never into real drugs.
I remember the stand-up comic said, and I was at the time, he's like, we don't need no education. Well, that's grammatically incorrect.
That was a Fetterman, wasn't it? We don't need any education.
That is Fetterman.
Yeah.
I think that's a false premise that because in the song, at first I bought it.
Yeah.
But then in the song, they're angry kids saying that.
Right. But the point is, well, apparently you do. Because,
I know the joke. I know the joke, but they on purpose wrote it that way. It wasn't like on purpose they didn't know any education.
But it took you 30 years. You're pretty safe if you get a laugh in the room, and then 30 years later, people go, "Hey."
Well, Wayne has some ideas I'm violently against. He hates jazz so much that he does bits about jazz being terrible. So I don't believe in that. But he still has my
we were in a band.
Joke.
Wayne and he was in our band for a little bit.
What do you talk? Why don't you say things like I don't even know about Wayne Fetterman. And the thing about it is he's the most easygoing guy in the world. It was a pure pleasure to work with him in the band.
He was fun to work with until I think he alienated a couple people when he brought a TV to rehearsal to watch a Bulls game.
Well, I'm lifelong friends with Mr. Wayne Fetterman, but we differ on politics. And but he's like a fascinating person.
He is always good for a weird hello when I see him. So
how was his bass player? Was he a bass player?
He was a pretty good bass player.
Yeah.
Eventually, I became the bass player, but we had a Spinal Tap rotation of them over the years.
Here's how petty I am as a person. The greatest movie of all time, I think, to me, is Spinal Tap. Maybe in that genre.
Uh-huh.
And yet, every once in a while, I'll go, I never liked the dying drummer bit. That never didn't make me laugh.
It wasn't the strongest bit in the movie.
Okay, at least but then I go, why are you finding things to not like about Genius? Because you can't help. I can't help it. I can't turn off the judgment. Should be the name of my autobiography.
There you
You've
go.
seen the extended, like the video, on the DVD where they have it's like 1 long hour extended scenes that they didn't put in. They're just amazingly funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I have. I not in a long, long time, but I remember the DVD extras.
I never thought about that, but I've become a DVD extra aficionado.
Absolutely.
I'm writing a book about it.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't think people realize it's a lost art form.
I don't think people realize that it's actually shorter than the movie, so you can actually get to the end.
Is today the day that
the truth is, I know you're being flippant, Frank. But, you can learn a fuck of a lot about filmmaking listening to director tracks and stuff.
Oh, no, I was kidding. Oh, no. No, here's the thing. we live in a time period where there's so much inundation of stuff that the idea that you would continue that as a tradition, there was no way for it to happen because you're streaming this and you're everything. You're not buying DVDs anymore.
DVDs. Yeah, that's the real key.
I refuse to. My next album is going to be only on vinyl.
That's good.
I don't know why I said that, but you know what? Sometimes, do you think that sometimes even when I'm not funny and it's annoying and it gets in the way of the show and it slows us down and it hurts the actual what the show's supposed to be about, don't you always appreciate my timing?
This comic, originally from Minneapolis, and one of the original writers for Mystery Science Theater 3000. Let's give a big welcome to Josh Weinstein.
It's great to be back here. I just got into town yesterday. Had a good flight in, too. I got off the plane to find the airline had actually lost all my emotional baggage. Feeling pretty good. So there's some guy in Cleveland who's really bitter now for no reason. Not really my problem, is it? Oh, it is good to be here. I've been traveling a lot lately. I get kind of depressed when I travel. Spend a lot of time in hotel rooms. You know, all you can really do in a hotel room, lie on your ass and watch TV, you know, which is fine, pretty much my normal home activity as well. But what's depressing about it is in hotel rooms, they always seem to put the television directly next to a big mirror. Lying there last week watching a football game and go, man, these are amazing, finely tuned athletes. This is great. I think I'll just watch Hee Haw. At least I have teeth. I watch a lot of TV. I really do watch too much, but I never watch good TV. Never prime time, only the really lame hours of TV, the depressing hours, late at night and daytime. Daytime is the worst. There's so much pressure not to be watching TV during the day, isn't there? Every 5 minutes a commercial comes on. Get a job. Get a life. Get up. Do something. Be a medical assistant. Dental. Electronics. Truck driving. Pet grooming will teach you. Get up. Unless you're injured. Wanna sue somebody? Stay down. But late at night it's depressing too. You get things like Sally Struthers 9 hours a night. That suicidal whine. Save the children. Save the children. For the price of a cup of coffee a day, you could save a child. Eventually the guilt really started to get to me, so I've stopped drinking coffee. You gotta do what you can. I'm a big believer in that. And phone sex, that's gotten out of hand. These 900 numbers, after midnight, it's just a constant barrage of lonely. Need a friend? Call me. Talk to me. Pay me. Oh, that's exactly what I need in my life. A friend who charges me $9.95 a minute to talk to her. I wouldn't pay $9.95 a minute to talk to God. Okay, maybe. But I wouldn't be touching myself. Unless he told me to, of course. Seems unlikely, I know. It's good to be back in Minneapolis. I do live in Los Angeles now. I moved out of here this past January. Too cold, too cold. 25 below zero when I left. 25 below. I chipped off a nipple. I did. I was opening a door, it just crumbled to the ground. They don't grow back. I couldn't stand the wintertime. People just get so ugly around here in the wintertime. We all do. It gets below zero. true, and it physically hurts you, so we all have the same face on the street, this horrible Minnesota damn it's cold face. Hi, how you doing? And to top off that look, people go to tanning booths. Get that winter tan like they're fooling anybody. They don't work. Tanning booths, they don't. Everyone comes out with the same look, this weird, oogie, orange, nuclear glow. At this point, you may as well just stay home and roll around naked in a tub full of wet Cheetos. Pick up the exact same color. And a little bit of flavor. I hate the wintertime, I really do. I hate the winter primarily because there's too many holidays in the wintertime. I hate holidays. Thanksgiving and Christmas. I don't like Christmas. I mean, being Jewish takes some of the magic out of it. I am Jewish. A lot of things Jews can't do during the holiday season, we find out. Jews can't drink eggnog, for example. It's just way too thick. Can't make that ha noise. You try, you pretty much just come up with phlegmnog. Not a good Minnesotan, really. I'm not a sportsman. That outdoors thing, I don't do any of it. Hunting and fishing. I've never hunted. I hit a deer with my car once. As close to hunting as I'm going to get. Horrible experience. Late at night, 2-lane highway. There are 4 reactions to go through when you hit a deer with your car. Number 1 takes place before impact, and that's... Ah! And you see the deer just frozen in your headlights. 2 would be... Ah! Ew. 3, does my insurance cover this? And 4th, is there any more wiper fluid? Pretty gross, isn't it? The insurance does cover it, by the way. They do consider it the deer's fault. Of course, I had to convince him the deer was drunk. Come on, he had all the signs, glazed look in his eye, stumbling around in traffic. His fly was open. I did find out in most states if you hit a deer, you are allowed to keep the deer that you hit. State trooper actually asked me, well, son, do you want to keep it? A lot of good meat there. Yeah, you know, oddly enough, of all the feelings I had during this experience, hunger wasn't one of them. I'll pass on the bumper buffet. I don't know, you know, I'm just not into winter sports. Some things I don't even understand, like ice fishing. I did it once. I don't get it. I don't. You walk out on a frozen lake, just tanked. Drill through 3 feet of ice to make your hole. Drop a string in. Wait. Freeze your ass off. And this is the recipe for fun. To me, anytime you have to drill through 3 feet of anything in order to do something, that's enough of a clue that thing is out of season. Move on to the next sport. It scares me to walk out on a frozen lake anyway. I'm a pretty big guy. You know, it's not always 3 feet of ice. Enough for me to go, Josh, why don't you stay on land? It's not worth it. You can buy fish. Frozen ones if you want. Because every year in the Midwest, there's a story about someone who goes through the ice of a lake, right? A couple years ago, there was one that made national news. A little kid up in Fargo, North Dakota. Fell underneath the ice of this lake. You're applauding, but it's a tragedy. He fell underneath the ice of this lake, and he's okay now, which is miraculous, because according to the news, he's underneath the ice for 44 minutes. 44 minutes. Man, you see this, you gotta wonder, who was timing this? Why didn't the sick bastard give the kid a hand? Some guy from the Guinness book? Go! Hang in there, kid, you're going for a record. Come on! Thank you very much. My name is Josh. Thank you.
Josh Weinstein! We'll be back with more right after this. Come on back. Comedy Gallery, Minneapolis, Minnesota. just taking a break. Be right back.
Good? We're good? Okay? We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Now, Josh, I realized I didn't mean to be rude there.
That was kind of Jack Benny-ish. Now, Josh.
Now, Josh. I realized it could have come across creepy. I'm ready. I'm ready now.
Yeah, well, could you swallow that thing in your mouth?
I don't know why you accuse me of having things in my mouth. It's so ridiculous. Why don't you tell the truth? There's nothing in my mouth.
Captain Lozenge.
My favorite one, though, is still the idea that I have to run to the door with Banaka.
Your weed Banaka.
And what's my point there? So I'm high to answer the door?
I'm not stoned enough to meet this new person.
That's very sad.
It is sad.
So, Josh, let's get down to it.
All right.
Why I called you today. I can't believe I can't swallow a piece of chocolate.
You've tried to melt it with coffee. It's really
So stupid.
How can
you said
not,
3 to 5 minutes. So
how can you not generate enough saliva to get through chocolate?
You got me up into this Atkins chocolate, which is your fault.
Ah,
I eat about 10 of those a day.
that's fantastic.
There is a thing about eating and deciding on your diet where, whatever you call it, your diet,
Yes.
where you are basically just lying to yourself all day long. Not I am.
Yeah.
Maybe fat doesn't affect me. It's not the bagel.
Right.
As long as I have it with bacon. And you start to convince yourself of all these things.
No, I thought for a while I had that sort of I have the magic metabolism thing. And
Right.
And then I had 3 major surgeries. So it kind of...
How come I can't see myself as well? Oh, I'll just move myself up more. Okay. You can see me okay?
yeah, enough.
I was on a TV show, a radio show, Majority Report, where they plugged our show.
Oh, fantastic.
They plugged our show. And,
Hello, spike in the graph.
And they were saying that I had to remove the chocolate from my
Do any of them listen to it, or are they just being polite?
I think most people are being on that show. I don't think Sam does, but I think I am getting a lot of people in Cameo, especially, who say that they heard about me through the show, through Thought Spiral.
Yeah.
You're surprised.
They heard about you through Thought Spiral? Like they came for me and learned about you? Is that what
I
you're
don't know
saying?
what I meant by that comment. They started with Thought Spiral. They were already listening to
Right. Well, you'd figure someone getting an Andy Kindler cameo would have some Andy Kindler fandom that would draw them to this mess.
But what I'm saying is I first heard them. I've had more than one person say, I first learned of you through listening to your podcast.
Wow.
And I just want to say that if I die tomorrow or next couple of weeks.
I can't believe you actually made a fan from this show.
Now that's rude. Because obviously the weakness in the show is you.
For sure.
And I'm the strength of the show.
Absolutely.
In fact, I get a lot of people going, why are you doing a show with somebody else if you don't listen to them and only want to go on and on?
Because he knows how to press record.
Oh, God. What a terrible human that would be. There are many humans like that. Oh, yes. Josh, Elvis. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's good. I wouldn't be doing it if he didn't know how to press record. We all laugh at where we are, which is separate from where you and your friends are.
Sure.
You're at the Blue Jam. Do you, now that you told me that the Blue Jam is more of an amusement park now, whenever I go by there, I see they've got video screens. You can look at samples of your food. It does seem like it's a whole thing now.
Yeah, it's no fun. It's one of those. It's one of those point your phone at a menu and then pay for it on your phone, and then they bring it to you.
Oh, so you don't even go.
It's like eating at a fucking airport. It's no fun.
Well, we have to get out of our own little bubble here in North Encino and get out and see the world.
Yes.
I was in North Hollywood. You know, I got an acting gig.
Really?
Did I tell you I had an acting
No,
gig?
you did not. That's very
I'm very
exciting.
excited about this.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it. Almost to the point where it sounds like I'm trying to make you feel bad or anybody else I tell about. No, I'm doing a thing on Hacks, that show Hacks.
Oh, excellent.
They're doing a roast of her,
Yeah.
and I'm one of the comics roasting her.
Oh, excellent.
I think
I was hoping they'd get to you.
And because you're talking about the Hacks joke now, right?
No,
You're talking about the Hacks.
I actually just I didn't really mean it as a slam.
Well, in my own defense, I have praised that show so much that it's like I pray. All the people
this isn't like being a judge on Last Comic Standing. This is
this is like this isn't a complete.
No. We have left a paper trail of approval for that show, and I'm happy you're going to be on it.
Yeah,
It'll be one of the few times I actually watch you in a role because I happen to be watching anyway.
Right, and Joe Mandy wrote the script, who's a very funny
I like
comedian.
Joe Mandy.
So I'm very excited about this, and I'm not worrying about it as much as I normally would. Now I've stopped going outside. I mean, I was going for a while to the markets.
So
I can't go to the markets.
What was you were in North Hollywood? Was that for an audition or a fitting?
So I don't want to brag, but I was at Eastern Costume. I don't want to. It's not
fitting.
something I say. Yes.
And
I asked them.
Are you in the ventriloquism aisle?
No, they actually have suits in my size. I couldn't fucking believe
That's
it.
what I mean, in the ventriloquism aisle.
Well, no, and they came in. I was like, "You're going to have to bring several tailors." They had people from Jimmy O's. I contacted to meet them there.
Yeah.
But no, I have a nice. I wonder if they. No, they don't give you the suit afterwards, do they? No.
No, not if you were getting it from a costume place. No.
So stupid. I asked him if there's a Western costume, and he said there was. So I just want to let you know this is not my first trip to one of those places.
Really?
Yeah, and I used to say back in the old days, I used to have quite a bit of fun when with my agent by telling him I will go on no more commercials with joke clothing. Please provide your own stethoscope, because that's what really made me hate commercials auditions. Was when you go there and there are people dressed as the Roto-Rooter guy. I just realized something. You probably aren't thinking anything, but I just realized something that you probably don't go through a lot, where just a moment of, oh God, you really are a hideous human being, and everyone can see it, especially Josh can see it. And where does that come from? I'm not being that annoying.
No.
I think it's just.
I hope you weren't getting it from me. I hope that's not what I was. Reflecting back at yourself.
No, but there's a part of me that's saying, you're on now. You're bragging, or you're happy. Here's what it is: you are happy that you're working next week,
right?
And when that happens for you, you always make people around you feel uncomfortable.
Well, please enjoy this truly rare moment of another person in show business being happy for you.
This is so great. This is so great. Now, what's your angle on this nice stuff?
Well, I hope you'll put in a good word for me.
Hey, Chip Roy might have gone the other way, I think. Roy.
He did. We're on vote number 13 right now as we speak.
Oh, my God. He did start him again. It's starting again.
Yes.
Now, Kevin McCarthy, who I do think...
I think he's only 2-3 humiliations away from victory now.
He is getting closer, right?
Yes. He got...
Well, who's the lady right now who's talking? Is she work for the Democrats?
She works for the actual House. She's the House clerk.
Does that mean that it's an ongoing concern? That
these are the clerks from the previous Congress, actually.
Oh, so she might not stay.
Exactly.
Because she's a person of color.
After this, why would she stay?
It's going to be, oh my God, Jeffries just got nominated.
I think you're behind.
Okay.
Yeah, you're behind because there's a white.
Well, you know what? I should turn it off. I feel you should do, you dumb. This is so stupid.
I'll tell you if he becomes speaker.
Yeah, but why is a person who can't concentrate on the thing he's doing have a TV on? Oh, because I don't usually in the living room. That's why.
Yeah.
No, was that a good story? I was in the car the other day, and I'm very rarely in the car, so I was listening to Air Talk with Larry Mantle.
Yeah.
And they had the review. I always like when he has the reviews on, because they usually have pretty good reviewers. So there are a couple of shows that sounded good to me, And then by the time I got to the fitting,
There was no more. Yeah,
I couldn't
it's all
remember
hacks.
them.
It's all about hacks now.
There was one show on HBO that sounded pretty good.
Do you know who else is in your scene?
What?
Who are the other comics?
I know that Natasha Leggero is one of the comics.
Okay.
And a couple of other people I think I know. But you don't want me to look at the script now.
Not really, no. But they're roast folk, kind of.
Did you have that? Have you ever had this happen where your phone tried to take over your Zoom? Because that's what's been happening to me.
Oh, you've been doing turn off the handover function.
Oh, where is that?
That's in. We can do this after.
Do this later. Well, I'm telling you, I'm not saying that we have to go to letters now. I'm just saying that you like to go to letters. You like to play the music, the Sting,
the love theme from letters.
the love theme from letters, and you're comfortable at that point going over there. I feel like the only way I can keep up is to talk now while you're doing that, and so that I'll be there before the Sting is over.
Huh. You don't really know how this works, do you?
Wait a second. I just saw that Pickles had a thing where, oh my God, I'm so sorry, Josh. I'm sorry. It's my mistake.
Yes. Yes, it is.
But we all pay for it. No, where Pickles' question got a lot of, like a retweet or something.
It did get a retweet, yeah?
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Pickles says, after I eat too much fried food and I can't read this. You have to read it.
You have to read it.
Stuff.
You took it.
Okay.
You set yourself as pole position reader.
I'm so disappointed in our viewership. After I eat too much fried food and my ass starts to burn, I eat a couple of bananas and I feel better. This feels like a big fried food crowd, so wanted to share what worked for me. Paying it forward, I think they call it. Oh, come on. This Pickles, when Pickles first started, I just thought it was a takeoff on the character from Dick Van Dyke.
Right.
But now there seems to be a lot going on.
You think
right?
you really you think this is where they broke character right here?
Well, you're saying that they got off the Dick Van Dyke theme earlier than this.
I think that.
See, all of her questions should be, as I was saying to, what's her husband's name again?
Buddy.
I was thinking that all this week I was cracking myself up when I was saying Kevin McCarthy wants to be the next Gavel McLeod. And boy, did I laugh.
Wow.
Also, this week I realized when I didn't tweet 20 to 30, maybe 40 things I was going to tweet, I was able to realize they're not ultimately funny enough to tweet. I shouldn't be tweeting them.
It's a year of breakthroughs.
It really is. It really is. Because
he's getting work. He's editing himself. What the hell kind of renaissance is this?
Oh, I'm back. I am definitely back. There's no question about it. Hey, you know what back for me means being? Returning phone calls.
That's nice.
Being on time. I'm back. I'm prompt.
Has the brother grant come in for the year yet? Yes. Okay, beautiful. Everything's coming up roses.
I'm in that time of the year where
swell.
I'm in that time of the year like, well, just buy it. What do we care? Buy it. If I could have bought more shoes yesterday than I needed, I would have.
Oh.
No, so now I'm feeling no. But what you're saying may or may not be true, and it's a joke. I don't really have a brother who has saved my bacon. What if I had not that brother? Would I have not had the same career and has been as well known and has been as much of America's darling as I am? Had I not my brother?
I think you just would have sold a little more plasma.
At least I wouldn't have bought. I did get it through my thick head that buying 8-track cassette recorders probably wasn't the way to ease the pain in my heart.
Yeah. But it took until 1990.
I don't even care what we're doing now because you brought back to me the most important part of the new year.
The Rich Brotherton Grant.
Rich Brotherton. Brought to you by Rich Brotherton. Rich Brotherton. Keeping Andy Kindler above water for 40 years.
For longer than he'd like to admit. Don't Call Me Boopsie is right in the swamp with hemorrhoids, yay or nay?
I don't like them.
I'm an anti.
I'm against them. I've never had a huge problem with them. If that's something was an interesting thing you'd like me to go into, I'm doing okay. That's the only area that I'm doing all right in.
I happen to enjoy sitting on an inflatable toilet seat cushion.
I'll never forget that time where they almost fired me from that show. They were going to force me to pretend that there was a donut on my ass. And I wouldn't do it on Raising Dad.
Yes.
Where do you come out on that? Do you come out like, oh, what a brave man you were? Or do you go out? To me, it was like, none of these writers have to wear a frozen donut on their ass.
Yeah.
None of the writers have to wear that. But I have to. It's going to be on me.
Right.
If anybody does watch the show.
Yes. I don't know where I come down on it. I know if I was a writer who had conviction in it, I'd be fucking actors. Fucking actors. Fuck.
You know who warned me about it, though, was B.J. Novak when I was friends with him.
Yeah.
Because he was writing on the show. He goes, oh, you're not going to like this.
Yeah, he was right. I mean, it's not a joke. I can't come up with a context where I could defend the gag. So I think you were right.
Oh, well, the context is that I was having hemorrhoid problems.
No, I'm not saying. No, I understand that. I'm just saying that there's no way to make that,
funny.
Probably.
Right.
I mean, you would have made a meal, but don't get me wrong. Because that's
the sad part.
You're a pro. You're such a pro. You absolutely.
I would have gotten a laugh from it.
Yeah.
First of all, you can't not get a laugh from it on a studio audience.
That Andy Kindler, he's such a pro. He refused to do the material he was provided.
That's the only unpleasant time I ever had with Norman Greenbaum, who was the director of that, the producer in that show.
And he did Spirit in the Sky too, right?
No. Am I mixing up his name? Or am I mixing up the name of the person who's Spirit in the Sky?
I don't know. I'm the one who confused matters, really. You were convicted with
Norman Green. He wrote the script of Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I'm mixing up his name, but he's a very sweet man, and he taught me what a bespoke suit was. But I think I got him angry. He said never, because I didn't want to do it, and he said nevertheless, and I said, I'm not doing it.
I've seen you when you hit the wall, and it's not pretty. It's not a place you want to be, face to face with Andy when his heels are dug in. I do not envy Norman Greenbaum in that situation.
Wait, it can't be his name. It cannot be Norman Greenbaum. Oh, my career's backing up. You get the joke? Are you going to be able to continue, or are you going to be laughing too much? All right, let's get on because we have so many of these great things.
Yes, we do.
Eastside 76 says, especially after the holidays, I have to correct my wife when she says I'm her other half. No, your other 3/4.
Hashtag
moo.
What is that?
What are these jokes?
I don't know.
Is he turned to a cornball? I think he's a cornball now.
I don't know.
I think he was just doing
that was written in the taint of the holiday season. I think he was just groggy from all the carbs. Shecky Flopsweat from that same time period says, "Hey guys, what are some bands you casually listened to in the 1980s, but have recently started listening to again with greatly heightened appreciation?" Wow, that's very specific. My latest is the Cars, he says. I'm all for the Cars. I don't know, once in a while I'll go back to the Violent Femmes' first album and relive my youth. But there's plenty of music from the 80s that I just never walked away from, sadly.
Right, like Talking Heads and
Sure.
Yeah. That was I'm starting to think now the 80s are my coming of age time period, right? If you
no,
want
that was the 70s, really, for you, old man.
Oh, but I'm saying, no, you graduated, you either went to college or you didn't go to college. Now you're starting your life as an adult,
All right.
21 years old. That's the 80s. But you're saying, no, it's still the 70s is my...
Well, you turned 21 in 1977, right?
Yeah.
So,
Stop saying that, yeah.
Well, but that's not the 80s, is my point.
Right. But I didn't get cooking till I came out to L.A.
Your
in the
salad
early
days,
80s.
whatever those
Yeah. Because out here they had all these great clubs that I avoided not going to. All the original. I just don't understand how I, at the age of 21, was supposed to compete with David Byrne. Just wasn't going to happen.
I don't know. I tried to come out here at 20 and compete with Jerry Seinfeld. So what the fuck was that?
That was made sense, though. You were a comedian
right
at the time.
Well, you were ostensibly a musician.
I know. I'm not going to put myself down because I can go that route. And
hey, we just played "Nice Like Me" on last week's show.
You did?
Yeah.
I hope the person who requested it. I will have to check now to make sure that they heard it. No. I
no, you
realize.
Don't. No, that would be like a narcissistic glitch if you did that.
I realize now that I've left behind quite a, what's it called?
Body of work. Body of work.
An oeuvre.
Yeah.
Yes, a body of work.
Yes.
And I'm ready to go back in the studio soon.
Good.
So thank you.
That's good. It's time to leave that body of work behind.
Dan Marsh says, "Hey guys, what's the worst you got stranded while on the road? A breakdown, a blizzard, a third calamity?" I think I've been not the worst. I think was when I drove up to Seattle in the middle of winter from Los Angeles and didn't realize that there was going to be a terrible storm on I-5.
Yeah, on the grapevine.
And I was driving my Honda Civic. And it was and it was bad. I thought I could have died then very easily.
Sure,
but that's the closest I think.
Yeah. I've been stranded in a blizzard. I've spun out a truck on a frozen South Dakota highway and ended up in a ditch.
Was that a comedy truck?
Yes.
You were driving the van or something?
No, I was driving an ancient Jeep Cherokee that was provided by the bookers to. You would meet them like in Minot, North Dakota, and they'd give you this car that you can go out and do these shitty.
It's a Dave Tribble run, right?
It wasn't Dave Tribble, but
it was Ken Muller then.
It was not Ken Muller either. No.
It was a Tom Sobel gig.
It was a Jeff Connors gig.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
You know what? He played Matt Maddox.
He was the first guy to headline me on the road at like 17.
I wish I could go back in time to see you excited, Josh, getting like a star, a literal star. There's nobody your age who was doing that.
It looks like me, except with hope in my eyes. It's the same. It's the same thing.
You weren't a curmudgeon then. No.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you've always been the same way.
I was a teenage curmudgeon.
I like Dwight. The Troubled Teen was one of my favorite characters.
Yes.
On Letterman.
Who are we at? Where are we at?
I think it's BD West.
All right. If you're a street joke loving pedestrian, tune in to Thought Spiral and find out what it's like to run across the freeway ahead of two F1 tested McLaren comics, J. Elvis Weinstein and Andy Kindler. It's like he did a commercial for our show on our show.
How come I don't have that? I don't have that one.
That was BD West. You're the one who pointed me to it.
Oh, I have when the pandemic began. I ceased watching all network news.
I did a later BD West. Why don't you read this and get us through this bump
when
in the road?
Pandemic began, I ceased watching all network news, BD West says. Immediately after receiving my first shot of the vaccine, I quit viewing Colbert. With my first booster, I started listening to Thought Spiral from its inception. The vaccine works, people. Well, thank you, BD West. That is what we promised. We promised to get people through the pandemic with our scintillating conversation.
And you did call him Colbert, by the way.
Is it Colbert?
Well, yeah.
I just for 1 second got confused because he made it Colbert. Is it his family making Colbert? No, he made it Colbert.
I think he made it Colbert, but but it's still that.
Yeah, but his family is Colbert. back home.
That's
know.
irrelevant. You should still know how to pronounce his name. Is my
Tweet,
point.
tweet, the twiddly the tweet, woo, 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 woo. Andy, was there one event that caused your mom to become a Christian, or was it gradual? That's a great question, like they say on the talk shows, on the pundit shows. I think it was, the one event was that she actually felt the presence of Jesus, is what she felt, even though she never was like a Jesus, like, oh, I found Jesus, because she actually didn't like talking about it in that way. But I think she really was, it was Jesus that attracted her. And also George Fox, the whole history of the Quakers really attracted her. So it was gradual, but once she got into it, she really loved it. And I think it was the best thing she ever did with her life.
Yeah. Better than collecting dolls?
No, I'm very proud of my parents, because my mother was maybe, one of the top people in the world with what she knew. So she was very good at it.
You've spoken at it with great pride.
Yeah, she's really, really new. I think I have pride of anybody who is, finds something that they love and, gets into it. Also, my mom, when she sold dolls and she sold anything, she used a Quaker philosophy, which is you charge whatever you think is a fair price, and then you don't. I think it's like an anti-Jewish thing. It sounds like you don't bargain.
Yeah,
that sounds like specifically going against the religion. I went to the Quakers because I just was tired of haggling, basically.
But that seems more. That seems more like it's incumbent on the purchaser, not the seller.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a Christian thing more than it's a yeah. Well, and again, if I haven't said it before, the reason why we have religious freedom in this country is not just because of the Quakers, but was in many ways because of the Quakers. They brought that over from the Dutch. The who was it? I forgot what I'm saying. But they brought that over, the liberty. They came here looking for it, and they were always in defense of people's religions and stuff like that. Oh, God, I'm not.
Wow. Once again, you have proved yourself to be the Quakerdom's worst ambassador.
Thank you for inviting me here. My mother was a Quaker, and it's an interesting story because she was... And that's why I hate the Jews.
Johnny Whoops says, Andy, you mentioned Klinger last week. What do you suppose led his character leaving the dresses behind for the Toledo jersey? Kind of feels like a Foster Brooks situation where Jamie Farr wanted to act.
Well, I think, I don't know what happened, but it would seem like they would get tired of that bit.
Yeah, I think my guess would be it was... I have no idea what actually happened. I don't know if he pulled an Andy Kindler and said, I'm just not doing that.
Look at you, you made your eyes go crazy.
I was trying, I needed something to make you remember what I was calling back. But if you're right, the show went 11 years, so if you're a writer. It was
funny that he never did it. It was always funny that he never did it pretending to be a woman. That, to me, seemed funny even at the time. Because if you look back on things in the TV shows, how they dealt with cross-dressing, it's pretty horrible history. Even in the Spinal Tap movie, I thought what was it, the Spinal Tap? Best in Show? No, what's the one? Guffman. What's the one? No, Where's the Mighty Wind?
Yeah.
Where all of a sudden Harry Shearer's a woman in the final scene. That don't fly anymore. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you're just using that as a joke?
Right.
Unless you thought that was a great bit.
No, I was over it by Mighty Wind, pretty much.
But I thought in that time period, him wearing a dress and not commenting or trying to be a woman.
it was a decent gag, and I think, one of the things that they did do on that show, which isn't that usual for a sitcom, is they did have character development over time.
Yes. Now, Jamie Farr, is he gone from us?
I think he might be still with us, actually.
Oh. And now you could see how maybe he was upset because he didn't. I don't know, that show went on for 20 years or how long?
11, I think.
Right. So people go, what happened to Jamie Farr? It's like the Bob Odenkirk joke. What's Jamie Farr going to do? What are you going to do now that the show's over?
All right. Tweet Bahar is back to say Gilbert said at radio stations after being interviewed he would ask for any records or CDs that they didn't play often. I enjoy Gilbert, but that's a schnorrer.
Is that a joke about me?
No.
I've told you. I didn't I tell you that for about 6 months, somebody told me, I forget it was, a seasoned comic told me, they love it if you ask them for free stuff.
Right.
And for
you were
about
a
4
schnorrer.
months, I asked for free stuff, and then I started to feel like a schnorrer.
Yeah. You were
But
right. And he's
right.
confirming this by saying that Gilbert had a similar shame-free version of your...
Well, because he already had accepted his image as a cheap guy already by that point.
Yes, that was part, that was part of the brand.
I apologize to anybody that I asked for.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's not like you.
Though.
It's not like you ask someone to give you something out of their pocket.
Right, but if you do it more than once, it looks like, what's that guy up to? Is he?
No,
is
it's just I did it. I thought when I was like 18 or something, I thought it was super cool that there was a free room at the radio station. And I loaded up, and then I realized, okay, I like about 2 of the things I got out of the 10, and now I've got 8 extra albums, and that could really become an exponential problem.
Right. Well, like one time I was up in. Do you ever do the show, the Mike Bullard show up in Canada, or when that was a show?
No.
Pat Bullard was his brother, very nice guy. He was a comedian, very funny comedian.
I did know Pat Bullard.
Mike Bullard did this show, and he hosted it. It was like the only talk show in Canada that came from Canada at that time. And so the people from Roots were there, and he goes, he was just telling me about, you got to go down to these places and get free clothing, He goes, because the Roots guy was going to be there. He goes, you got to go down tomorrow. And so I felt funny going down there, and I went down there. The guy gave me whatever, a Roots thing.
Yeah.
But when I left, I felt like, this doesn't feel like as much fun.
It's not so fun. It's, I mean, there's been times, like I got to go to the secret Nike store once,
Oh, that's cool.
And that was, and you pick stuff out and it's fun, but it's, at a certain point, it's just more swag, it's just.
I've done Emmy things too, twice, and those were a little embarrassing.
Yeah.
You give you free stuff.
I got, went very early in the over the top gift basket era. I actually got paid to write a funny letter to put in the gift basket for the celebrities.
That's so great.
And part of my payment was one of the gift baskets. So.
There's a great Sopranos episode with Michael Imperioli and the guy who played Gandhi.
Ben Kingsley.
Yes, where they were going through an Emmy thing like that. And Michael Imperioli was going, look, you get all this free shit or something like that, where he gives him his free shit. It's a very awkward scene.
Yeah.
Where Ben Kingsley's like, yeah, this is ridiculous that we get this free stuff. And it does look ridiculous.
The whole thing is pretty ridiculous,
Yeah. Even if you justify that, well, they want us to use these things.
Yes.
That was the thing I used to. Well, I mean, there was nothing wrong with what I was doing. But it just
no, there was nothing
good.
wrong, but it doesn't feel good. Exactly.
Right.
There's no, you feel like you're like.
Well, I even gave $100. I even gave to the one group that had like these little LED things. Yeah. Because I felt guilty about taking all the free things. And I didn't even like the LED.
That I wouldn't have done, probably. Unless they were an LED charity of some sort.
Well, everything I chalk up to, was I on Raising Dad at the time? Or was I not on Raising Dad at the time? Because for the brief period I was on Raising Dad, I walked around the world like a $20,000 an episode person.
Right.
For one season.
It's a good feeling.
I got 10 episodes at $20,000 a piece.
I can't do that math.
Really? I think that's pretty easy to do. Oh, I'm the dumb guy's dumb guy.
That's.
I'm the dumb guy.
Please welcome the dumb guy's dumb guy.
Jason embellished his bio Parton. Did I get that right?
You did.
I've cracked the code. Jelvis, Spec. I figured it out. You had me going for a while, but I finally got it. You guys are the two Jews from the theme song to this show. Thought you could pull on over on your, well, he meant to say one. Thought you could pull one over on your old pal Jason, didn't you? You figured it out, Jason. We didn't think anybody would. But we are the two Jews.
That is the worst playing along I've ever really.
Oh, you. It's embarrassing that I can't play along better.
Tell me about it.
Why?
Exactly.
Kay Turret says, as one of America's leading comic minds, do you recommend a specific Medicare Advantage plan, or would you stick with Medicare Part B? I think there's so many plans out there, you may not be getting everything that you deserve in your current plan. Like glasses.
It took me a while to find out that you were doing your Joe Namath.
You know, he hasn't been on recently, so either it's the wrong time period or he didn't get used this year.
I think he got traded.
And no Jimmy Walker.
No, he got traded too.
But I am fascinated, and no offense to this gentleman, but these commercials are rivaling the Burbank firm, where they say, are you the guy from the $9.95 Colonial Penn Insurance Plan? Yes, I am. So they're trying to build him up, right, his profile up in the commercial.
Yes. He's Flo. They want him to be Flo, but the $9.95 guy. And
again, are we that stupid, senior citizens? Is that, I guess we are.
I don't
Remember
know.
the three things.
What you mean, we, old man?
Price. A price you can afford.
Uh-huh.
A price that doesn't change. And the third thing is that it doesn't pay off much.
You can't even remember the 3 Ps, Andy. Come on. That's why they have to drill it into you.
But then, you see, here's the thing. There are a lot of senior citizens out there like me going, oh, my God, for $10 a month, all of my troubles are over. First of all, it only helps if you die. Right?
Right.
So put that in your license.
You're really just buying a silver lining.
Yeah, you got to find a silver lining. I'm going to keep going if you don't pick it up.
Okay, go for it.
Terry Whedon says, I started listening to last week. Oh, yeah. I started listening to last week's show at 3/4 speed. Had Andy had a stroke? Had Josh been drinking? Got me wondering why the speed options exist. Why would anyone want to listen to a podcast fast or slow? Enlighten me, please. Here's the one question I've ever had that I actually have the answer to. It's often used by people who are researchers, and like I listen to a show where I don't speak German. The name of the show is, so he's always listening to these Nazis, and he can only listen to them at double speed without driving himself crazy. So that's one use of it.
Okay. Well, you did answer the why would anyone. You found an anyone. And
then you could do it slower only if you really wanted to write something down that you missed. I don't know why you'd ever go slower.
Slower is hard. Slower is pretty hard to comprehend why someone would want to go that way. Faster, I'm always for people talking faster, but I don't listen to podcasts.
I hope that Kerry hears that and goes, you know what? This is not only a great I love the show because it's like it's the thought spiral. You never know what they're going to say. You never know if it's going to be interesting or not interesting. And also, they addressed my question right on the air. I love these guys. Love you guys. That's what we're here for.
Christopher Citro says, in the 30s, Salvador Dali wrote a never-produced surrealist screenplay for the Marx Brothers called Giraffes on Horseback Salad. Someone recently made a graphic novel of it. What famous deceased artist would you like to collaborate with on a screenplay for you?
It's a question that's going to be one of the questions of the year. I don't understand it. It's like a surreal. It's surreal. It's giraffes on horseback salad. That doesn't even make sense as a regular thing. Is it like a guy like writing with a heightened reality? Is that what he's doing?
It's Salvador Dali.
Okay, I was playing the dumb guy again.
Huh.
I guess I'm playing it so well that
I want Magritte to do mine.
Greg Kelly says there's no humiliation or consequences coming to Gates. that will ever satisfy my current antipathy towards him. Geez, I hope Josh reads this. Love you. Geez, I hope. In other words, like people think you don't read the questions.
I think he was afraid you wouldn't be able to pull off antipathy. I really think that's what he thought.
Matt Gates, love you, Andy. Matt Gates has that smirk, which you're not born with that smirk. That smirk is developed from talking out of both sides of your mouth and being just a scumbag your whole life.
Yes. What the thing about the talking out of both sides of your mouth is it does make both sides of the aisle want to smack. You just want to smack it. Just smack, 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 smack.
He's like the worst person, right? Like horrible his whole life. He can't just look that way, right? He's got to be that way.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's hilarious how central casting a douche he is.
I know.
It's like God said, I'm going to give you a big douche head. Live up to it, Matt.
I like when they say over last week, well, everyone knows Jim Jordan doesn't want the job. Like he would be a reasonable choice.
Right.
Think of, Jim Jordan, he wants the head of the judiciary. He's crazier than McCarthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he's crazier than McCarthy, but he's not as evil. They're both evil.
No, I think I'd put Jim Jordan one notch more evil.
Than McCarthy?
Yeah.
I think there's nothing worse than the McCarthy one day I say he's responsible and then I all of a sudden go and kiss his ass. I think there's no quicker turnaround.
But he doesn't have letting massive amounts of sexual abuse go on under his nose.
Yeah. Jim Jordan just has that terrible Denny Hastert-like past. No, I'm not saying he's like Denny Hastert, but if you got that feeling, I don't care. Nathan Briggs says, as of Thursday night, Charlie McCarthy can't get enough votes to be speaker. Can the Dems find 20 Republicans and vote for a moderate? How about Mortimer Snerd? I know that reference, but I don't remember where it's from.
Mortimer Snerd is another of one of Edgar Bergen's puppets along with Charlie McCarthy.
Oh.
I think it slipped by you that he said Charlie McCarthy.
No, I read that, but I did get that. But I wasn't thinking of the Charlie McCarthy, Kevin McCarthy thing right there. I wasn't thinking of him as
because of the votes to be a speaker? Is that the thing?
No, because I still can't get my head around the fact that Charlie McCarthy is not the ventriloquist. I just can't accept it.
Oh, I see.
I never.
You always thought Edgar Bergen was the puppet?
Doesn't mean. Well, no, he's a bad name for a puppet too. Charlie McCarthy should have been the name of the ventriloquist, and the puppet should have been named Mortimer Snerd, and that would have been perfect.
Okay, and then Edgar Bergen just gets squeezed out?
Yeah, but what was he known for, Edgar Bergen? Being a good talker, or?
For being Charlie McCarthy's operator.
Well, Charlie McCarthy, was he he sounds like he might have been the funniest of these horrible characters.
Well, I'm not gonna be a fucking Edgar Bergen apologist for you. No.
No. The Edgar, you were going the other way. You are being an Edgar. Well, did you is it actually funny? We don't know. Oh, hello, Charlie. Hey, Charlie. No, how's Charlie talk? Well, hello, good man.
Close enough, sure.
And then Edgar goes, "What's going on, Charlie?"
And he moves his mouth, which is the fantastic part of it.
Yeah, I can't complain about it because
he was the greatest of the radio ventriloquists.
It's so funny. And even though it's not a joke, it sounds great.
Yes.
Bad Idea Society. You can't beat me now. You're done. You are done.
Well.
Andy, if you were doing a State of Comedy speech in 1980, who would you be roasting? Charlie Callis, Art Metrano, Charles Rocket? Dying to know. Who's Art Metrano? Is that a guy from the Carson Band?
No, he was a comedian and actor.
I'd be doing a hilarious bit about how depressed I was about John Lennon being shot. Everyone would cry and my career would be over.
Okay, what happened? What would happen if it happened before December in that year?
I can't remember. Reagan. I go after Reagan, I guess. Well, no, who would be the comedy people to go after in 1980? Saturday Night Live. I'd be going after the Gene Dumanian years.
That's why you put Charles Rocket in there.
That's right. So it would be Charles Rocket.
Yes.
Who's the guy who committed suicide? Was that Rocket?
I don't think so. Or just recently-ish?
I don't know. I think I'm mixing up.
I think he died.
Stories.
He did die, but I don't know if he committed suicide.
Somebody said a bad word or something. Like
that
cursed.
was Rocket. He said
Right, that was Rocket.
something about tell me why I got.
But that was not his real.
Who fucking shot me or something like that.
But that wasn't his real name, Charles Rocket, right?
I have no idea.
How about Johnny Dangerously?
BD West says overheard at Helium Portland. I've met Andy Kindler, and you, sir, are no Andy Kindler.
Well, then what was the one you were reading before? That's the third letter you were reading from him, right?
Why are you causing trouble?
You heard me, and you know what you did. I love that you heard that. I miss that club. That's a fun club, but I don't go out anymore. But that's a great club.
I played it once.
Yeah, I love Portland too.
John Dunbar says, has Josh seen the new McCartney Abbey Road documentary? If These Walls Could Sing. I ditched Disney after watching Get Back countless times and wonder if it's worth signing back up to see it. I don't think I've seen that. If it's a new, I've seen McCartney at Abbey Road in a thing, but I don't think I've seen this.
It's called If These Walls Could Sing.
I get that. Yes.
Eamon Lusk. I haven't even heard that. Oh, warps your head. Hi. The biggest backlash I have ever gotten on Twitter is when I told Tim Tebow that Jesus wasn't on Twitter. What's the biggest hubbub you've caused on Twitter? XOXO. You mean like negative?
I don't know. I don't know that I've ever caused a hubbub on Twitter.
I've caused a hubbub on Twitter. The worst thing I've done on Twitter is get angry at... The most embarrassing thing was get angry at the Questlove.
Yeah.
For the wrong reasons.
Right.
First of all, I should have been angry at him anyway, but I was angry at him because he used to say stuff like, that's why we're the best late night show on TV. My anger at Jimmy Fallon spilled over at him.
Yeah.
But one time I said, the topic's terrible. Why did you let this group in? What was the group that he let in? Kiss. So what's the matter? That guy's a Nazi or something like that. And then he wrote deranged uncle syndrome.
Yeah.
And then I said, I'm not a deranged uncle. I didn't even understand that he was trying to explain the Kiss guy's behavior. And I took it that he was calling me a deranged uncle. And then I apologized. And he goes, how old are you? And then we left it okay. But you never forget that as an OCD person. And then people for the next 3 days, well, you asshole, getting angry at Questlove.
Fun. Twitter fun.
It is fun. You've never had one of those.
Not a big one. Not a big one.
No, you shouldn't have one.
Sous Vide says, which tennis player of any era do you think would be the best weekend update anchor? I think Arthur Ashe or Hannah Mandlikova.
Mandlikova. I've actually waited on Hannah Mandlikova because I was a waiter at Barnaby's restaurant in 1983 when the Virginia Slims tournament was there. Arthur Ashe, although he was funny, I don't know if that would be his. I think Roger Federer would be a good anchor, we can update anchor.
Yeah, I'll give it to McEnroe probably.
Oh, I do love McEnroe. Well, that's it. I'm sure there's nothing on Instagram, and that's it today, folks. I'm sorry if you did write in. We didn't get to your letter today, and I'm doing this kind of a bit where I'm pretending there's no more to the show.
It's good. It's a strong bet.
Do you think it's funny or strong?
Oh, no, just strong.
Okay. Right. Do you think I'm funny or funny-ish?
So is there a third option?
Annoying.
Alrighty.
It's like, you've been doing a show for a long time when you're both tired of insulting each other.
Yeah. It's just time away from the point.
Yeah, exactly.
Full Dork says, I finally watched It's a Wonderful Life, and wow, Josh's impressions are on point. He sounds more like the movie than the movie did somehow. Why, thank you.
He really did. You really did get inside the whole energy of that. I was like, oh, and saving his little, you goddamn happy Christmas, Jiffy Lube.
We serve hard and strong impressions for men who want to be impressed fast. Georgie DiCarlo says, we've heard a lot about your favorite bagels and your favorite coffee over the years. I wonder if you have a favorite brand of noodles for your chicken noodle soup.
No, but we have a favorite brand of pasta called Jovial Pasta, which makes incredible gluten-free pasta, and I eat that all the time because Susan's gluten-free.
I would use the Manischewitz thin egg noodles for my chicken soup.
How about Fleischmann's?
I would use Manischewitz. They asked if I had a favorite brand.
Have you seen Fleischmann's in trouble?
I have not yet, no.
Okay.
I've heard it's good.
Okay.
Did you watch it?
No, but I want to.
All right. Nice Firm Handshake says, sorry if any of this is well-trodden ground, but how and when did you guys first discover marijuana? And are there any songs or albums that you associate with your early stonerism?
That's interesting. I was probably 14 or 15. And, but the one I associate with is my friend Bill Kaufman. He used to be in the comedy duo with me. He first I smoked a few times and didn't get high because of the quality of the weed, but a lot of people had that story. But then he said he got high listening to Break On Through to the Other Side. So I do think that is kind of a good pot song.
Yeah.
Like you're really, rebelling.
But it's someone else's story.
I know. That's true. Ultimately, everything I do is sad.
I was about the same age. It was through my Jewish friends and that I knew through my AZA, my Jewish youth group thing. And I don't have any. I was never one of those let's get stoned and blank people.
Yeah, I was really excited about getting stoned.
No, I liked the let's get stoned part.
Right.
But the end, listen to blank or
yeah. That's hilarious. I think I've listened to all Grateful Dead stuff high, but that's not like it was made for it.
Right.
I was doing it while I was high.
Right. Bruce Colton says, Spike, it's catching on. Are there any circumstances in which you'll get out to clubs in 2023? That's your Spike.
I forgot for a second. Maybe towards the end of the year, but already they asked me if I wanted to go to Austin. I don't want to go yet. So maybe at the end of the year.
And that's what, April?
Yeah. You will be, though.
I'm going to Sketchfest in February, and I'm going to be in Minneapolis in May.
What's happening at Sketchfest?
A bunch of riffing, a bunch of movie riffing with Mystery Science alumni.
Masked, I hope.
Not on stage, probably.
Nobody's masked. I think people have just figured, well, no, I'm masked, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. PB Adams says, is it against Josh's professional interest to discuss Segura and co-hosts belly laughing at Louis C.K. telling his, quote, favorite new joke, unquote, which is about, you guessed it, a guy exposing himself? I don't know the circumstances, but
what's the point? What would be your point?
I mean,
to get involved in it.
Yeah, I have a 2 text a year relationship with Tom at this point.
Yeah,
very friendly texts, but I mean, he's always had, way different shit has made him laugh than me. He's always had this very, junior high sort of streak in terms of, what his show is about and,
Right.
But, would I think it was cooler if he wasn't friends with Rogan and all that shit? Sure. But that's, that's not how it works. So,
it isn't how it works.
I mean, I don't feel like he's, I don't feel like Tom is someone who's putting, victims in the crosshairs.
Right. He just hangs out with people who we don't like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But it's a very hard thing to do. I mean, it's easy for me to say I'll never perform at the Comedy Store again. They're not asking me.
Right. Daisy Petunia says, I'm glad you're taking questions on Instagram now because I like to go on Instagram and look at hot 22-year-olds acting irresponsibly and spending money they can't ever get back.
That's exactly what it is. I find it both frightening, alluring, and scary. Every time I go on, I go, oh, look at that lady, and look at what, and then I'm
quite a life they're living. They really are living their best life.
How could people be so
What
attractive?
an incredible brand they've put together. Zeke Fossey says, Charlie says, love my good and plenty. Charlie says, really rings a bell. Charlie says, love my good and plenty.
Don't know any other candy that I love so well. Did I get it right?
You anticipated the end. Amazing.
Is it candy?
Yes, good and plenty, yes.
Yeah. That's one was my favorite song when I was a kid.
Oh, those good and plenty. Oh, those good. Oh, wait. That's not.
Oh, that's past my time. I was saying.
The Rev K says, no question, gents, just reinforcing the Instagram flow. Thanks for the weekly spiral. Josh and Andy, have a great 23. Thank you.
It's 65 degrees downtown. I was like, we're hoping that the Instagram flow becomes our main thing, just in case anything happens with Twitter.
Dan Wade is here, spiraling both platforms. Straddling. Dan Wade is here, straddling both platforms. Says, I'm looking to change podcast providers. Is Thought Spiral available on Paramount Plus?
I think that's a funny joke. I like it.
All right, well, good. You gave him his laugh. I'm not so generous.
Paramount Plus is the least popular of anything, right? It's a good example of something you don't need.
Yeah, I don't know.
It doesn't exist even, right?
No, it exists. I don't know if you quite, I don't know if you like, if it has like that, what was the thing on the phone, the something bow or the thing that came and went so quickly?
Oh, Vines? No,
not Vines. Like, whatever it was.
Well,
where they had 3-minute episodes of shows. And,
yeah. I thought that was Vine. Something like Vine.
No, it's something like Vine, but
Sniglets.
So yeah, sure. I think I can call it done. I'm good.
Oh,
if you'd like to support our show, though.
Oh yeah, what do they do?
There's things to do. There's things you can do. I see your eyes darting towards.
No. I was saying, can you see this? Can you see me moving like that, or that's out of the frame?
No, I see your shoulders.
Okay, what
your
if
shoulders telling the tale, but your eyes are really your biggest enemy.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Let me at least do a plug, okay?
Okay.
Go to buymeacoffee.com/thoughtspiral. Buy us a coffee. Okay, now do your thing. Oh, no, you blew it. Way to go. Way to go.
Hey, Josh, knock.
Unlike Andy, I love you all.
And that's why I hate the Jews.